So, for those of you who know and have been following along, I have revamped my podcast, Tasty Talks. The Tasty Talks spiritual podcast is now Tasty Talks Tech, Wrestling, and Life. So, with that being said, I actually am bringing a component from the Tasty Talks spiritual podcast, I'm bringing a component back. And that component is called Tasty Tidbits. So this is going to be a tasty tidbit, which is basically like a shorter episode. Usually it's going to be just me and my thoughts and sharing updates and whatnot. Kind of like I guess, a audio journal, so to speak. But you should be able to take something from it and hopefully it resonates. If not, that's cool too. But yeah, so the this is I'm in the Tasty Talk studio, so I use a couple of different tools. I use Riverside, which is connected to my Spotify podcast creator account. That's for podcasting. So for my episodes, for Tasty Talks, which is different which is different from the Mimi Morning Show. Mimi Morning Show, not only are they different schedules, but kind of different content, different format. And for the Mimi Morning Show, I use Restream. So since this is a random kind of tasty tidbit, you're not going to see like marquees or anything like that. I actually wanted to share my well, I already do share my journey of content creation with you guys. Well, LinkedIn, I think this is the first time I'm kind of sharing it with you, those watching me live on LinkedIn. And of course, for those of you just listening, you could be just listening on to my podcast, listening to the episode by now if you didn't catch me live. But I wanted to, I guess, delve in a little bit more onto my content creation about my content creation journey and why I'm opting to do this and why the timing, how everything just kind of feels right. So, hey, okay. Shout out to Modern Millie on YouTube. If you don't know who she is a YouTube creator. She teaches people how to basically turn content creation into a full-time job so they can quit their 9 to 5 or, whatever. Eventually, that's the goal. She's one of the newest YouTube creators that I started following because she's just so engaging and her content is very like straightforward and concise. And it's kind of like edutainment, which is what I am dubbing myself like in my niche is like edutainment, because of course, in addition to wrestling talk all the time, I do talk about technology because I am a network security student. I'm a tech girly, have always been since I was a kid. And that's another reason why I am tapping into LinkedIn. So, anyways, so I follow her now, Modern Millie on YouTube, and there was a video that came up on my feed. Well, I liked one of her other videos, so it makes sense. And it was basically like 10, I think she listed 10 chat GPT prompts to help you like launch yourself into content creation, right? The shit was so good. I was laying in my bed. I was chilling. I was, winding down from the day. And the shit was so good that I hopped out of bed, got back on my computer, put the video on my TV screen and listened. And I saved the video for later because I have to reference it again in the future. But to like after this phase is done. But like she was dropping some crazy nuggets, some really good nuggets in my descriptions on podcasts. So on my podcast description, as well as this is going to go on YouTube as well. My YouTube feed is connected. I will link her video. I am not a gatekeeper. I will share because this is good stuff. If you are a newer content creator, I will link her and share that information. Sharing is caring, right? So I got started last night. And the thing is that the whole goal with content creation for me is to be able to do it full time, monetization, to build a business from it. In addition to me being a techie, I'm very entrepreneurial. I've always said, even from when I was a younger girl, that I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be my own boss. And I lived that for a little bit. as a freelancer when I was living in Phoenix and a little bit when I was in Houston too. So I've done it before, even to the point where I uh, hired someone to work with me on a project at one point. So now that I am back in school and I want to actually pursue school, I want to get to my doctorates. I think it'd be really cool to say that I'm a doctor of computers. And I just like to learn. Like now that I'm out of like forced school, like elementary and all that stuff, like I do like to learn. I do like school. So I want to keep being a lifelong student, and not just in life, but just in my profession and my career, and in with multiple things and skills, and just learn a bunch of stuff. Like, why not? What else are we in this life to do? So with that said, I'm back in school, but especially with my program, it is very demanding. Even though I'm only 3/4 time, so I'm only taking 3 classes a semester, but it's still very demanding. And content creation and being an entrepreneur and like having my own stuff, being a freelancer, contractor, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of the only thing that I can do while I'm going to school. Like, I can't really get a regular 9 to 5, work full time. I tried that. I've tried that multiple times. That's part of the reason why I was in and out of school so much. And I'm just now buckling down and finishing because I am, blessed enough to be in a position to do so. Finally. So I am very grateful and thankful. And because of that, I owe it to my support team, here on earth and in other realms, and just to myself to take full advantage of this opportunity. I'm back in school. The only thing that really makes sense for me to do as far as earning a living is content creation, freelancing, you know, and kind of go get back on my personal branding hustle, like how I was when I was freelancing before a few years ago. So, especially now, I really have to do the branding thing again because I'm transitioning careers. I was more on the business side of things of sales, marketing, business development. So, I have built up that career. And that experience is what allowed me ultimately to freelance and, work with teams virtually and even do some like consulting. So now that I'm transitioning careers, I'm learning and I'm still using the skills that I have because they are very transferable, but I'm also still learning. As a matter of fact, they're so transferable that I have discovered that I can really get into project management. I'm doing so right now as part of a school project, but it's like legit for the school. So in cybersecurity. So back to Millie and her video and how much it motivated me. So I got up this morning and I continued what I started last night. And I I could only use like first couple of prompts for Chat GPT. I said it right, right? Chat GPT. I did. All right. That she shared. And I did those, but I got so much information, just added those like, I think I only did like 2 prompts because then of course Chat GPT responded to me with clarifying questions. So then we did that. Basically have now enlisted ChatGPT now basically as like a content strategist and kind of overall like business partner. Like that's what you kind of need to like in order to really get the best out of AI tools. That's what you need to do and kind of feed it and tell it to do so that you can get the best results from it. So that's exactly what I did. And I got basically a 3-month plan and broke it down into it like have a big goal and then breaking it down to right now a 3-month plan. So, and this is kind of the crux of what I really want to get across. And this is the tasty tidbit is that when you just do things, when you stop letting perfectionism and fear stop you in your tracks, when you just get out of yourself for a moment and just stretch yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, you make headway, so much of it. Because in addition to me going to school, I am with, as you guys know, well, those of you on X know, I am with Culture Clash Network. Those of you on LinkedIn, you don't know that yet. So yes, I am with a network where it's Culture Clash Network is a network of basically shows, online shows, podcasts, live streaming, and it's a great network. And I am now blessed to be a part of that, blessed with that opportunity to be a part of it. So in addition to that, like I actually even like work on projects in addition to like podcasting and streaming and those contributions I bring to the network. I also work on other projects within the network on top of going to school. So there's a lot. And because I am new to this whole like content creation, I'm not necessarily new to podcasting because, like I said, I started Tasty Talks essentially, I think back in like 2018. It just had been on a but from like 2018 to like 2020, I think was my last. Yeah. Tasty Talks Spiritual Podcast. It was the last one, was 2020. Because I remember I interviewed a burlesque performer in Phoenix. So yeah, it was around 2020 time was like the last one. And so I'm not new to podcasting, but I am new to like live streaming, using tools on my PC like Riverside and Restream. Because when I was doing Tasty Talks before, it was when it was Anchor and I was doing it with my phone. So yeah, so this is new to me. And because of that, there's a steep learning curve. And with me, kind of, I call myself a recovering perfectionist, with me being a recovering perfectionist. I was one of those people who will let being wanting to put put your best foot forward. I know that that saying has good intention, but for me, it has caused a lot of overthinking, anxiety, stress, and honestly has stopped me from really pursuing endeavors, or I'll stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, because I'm like second guessing myself. So when I got this 3-month plan together and that I started thinking, because the whole thing, if you're going to build a business from content creation, you also need to have products. So for me, it'd be digital products. And I actually do have products. I have made sales on those products in the past on Gumroad. I will link that as well. I also started a Substack where I have, well, not a lot. I have 2 followers. I have 2 subscribers. But at the same time, I also started writing on Medium a while back. And on Medium, I have a lot more followers. Like I opened my Medium one day, I was like, holy crap, whoa, these are all these people have subscribed to me. So if I can get those people to come over to Substack and then I integrate my Substack with my Gumroad, like promote my Gumroad store on Substack, I mean, hello. And then then I funnel that and put that into what I'm creating. So people see me. And it's also like part of that branding and everything too, right? I mean, well, the branding is there, you know what I mean? Like, so it's all just synchronous. I realized a couple of things. Like, one, there's nothing to it but to do it. I said that to someone um, in Culture Clash Network along with me who premiered a show this weekend. Shout out to Leslie from Acknowledge the Dynasty podcast, ATD, who premiered her show Between the Ropes. And she was nervous about it like the day before. And I said in the chat during their SmackDown watch along, if I hadn't, like, first of all, stepped out of myself, stepped out of my comfort zone and joined the network, and then I wouldn't have come up with the idea I would have had the opportunity to then revamp. I mean, I was going that way anyway to get back into podcasting, but it just kind of, I was like, there has to be something. There's like a puzzle, like there has to be pieces that go together. It has to kind of make sense. So you just got to do it. Even just like with my winning, with my hackathon win, I literally just said, fuck it. And I placed second in my category. So you just got to do it. So first you got to really step out of yourself. Also, I believe it's the full moon, by the way, which it's full moon in Aries. My North Node's in Aries. If you know anything about astrology, you understand. If you know, you know. Not going to dive too deep. This is a tidbit. So it's going to be, needs to be shorter than a regular episode. So just do it. 1. 2, when you're doing it, you got to be open. And you kind of have no choice but to be open because you don't know what you're doing most times. Most times. If you're scared to even do it in the first place, you probably don't even know what you're doing, or you're new to it, or I guess like riding a bike, even though I don't even know how to ride a bike. That saying again applies, like riding a bike, like kind of getting in the groove. So once you do it and you get in the groove, you kind of start doing things, you just end up learning and kind of picking up along the way, just like how I did last night. Started following certain content creators and seeing their videos on my feed. And then when you see it, you need to take action. I know I did a Tasty Talks episode where I interviewed the founders of Zia AI, and we were talking about human design. My human design, I have a sacral authority. So part of that means that whenever something just sparks me, where it's just like, yes, like a resounding yes, or something just kind of just gets my attention, like immediately, which sometimes I do have to kind of really hone in on judgment because I have and still do a little bit spread myself too thin because I'm kind of going every which way. But now, as I'm getting older, I'm getting more focused. But you need to just act. Just like I saw that video and I got up and came to my computer and just started doing the work. Just started it. And then followed up today by finishing up certain things. Now, of course, Rome is not built in a day. So I'm not completely done with everything. But to be honest, once I saw the plan and then I logged into Trello using a Trello board and kind of like mapped out what ChatGPT told me and put it in Trello and kind of put it in boards and stuff and then did like checklists. I could see like, oh, I've kind of already done this. Check it off. Yeah, so it's like I've already kind of even started doing some things. And then you also get to take a look back and see what you have done already and what you can do to like promote other things. For example, I have a book. I have a poetry book out. So it's my mother's poetry. My mother passed away when I was 15. She was a big poetry writer. She has stacks thick poetry that she would type out on computer and then print it out or even typewriter. I'm aging myself. I don't care. I'm dating myself. I don't care. So all of the poetry I released to the world on her, well, not on her birthday. It was like, I think the day after, but it was around her birthday in December. And along with the poetry, there's my context around the poems and a little bit of background on our relationship, on me. Eventually, I'm going to do another book more focused on me. This would be kind of just like a continuation. But that book, A Lifetime of Lessons Carried On, short, that's the short version. A Lifetime of Lessons Carried On is available on Amazon. And I don't know, I never, again, like because of that perfectionist thing and just kind of hiding, I never promoted it really. I mean, I know like some friends and family have a copy, but I don't promote it. But while I was going back referencing my Gumroad store, my digital products online, I have a couple of freebies that I can link it to. I wrote a poem I have on a poem I wrote, a little short poem on Gumroad as a digital product. It's just the words. You actually just see it right there. And it's a poem to other Black women in the tech space. I just sat down, just kind of just wrote it out one day that I posted it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to put this on as a digital product. But I was just something to kind of put myself out there, not to mention also kind of set myself up for my ultimate goal of turning content creation into a business. So that was actually kind of part of the 3-month plan that I actually had already kind of started doing. So I integrated those things. I redid my Gumroad store. I'm going to update some products. Totally forgot that I actually do have an AI freebie in Gumroad where it's like a suggested. So you can either have it for free or you can pay, you could give me some money for it. Like it's kind of like a pay what you can type of deal. Essentially, it is kind of basically like a freebie. And it is a tutorial on using AI, so using ChatGPT, using LinkedIn, and using Grammarly to apply for jobs, to craft cover letters and to tweak your resume. So, and I've gotten sales from that. Actually, people have actually paid for that in the past. I realized that I kind of have all these things. I have like all of the things, but they're just not I haven't put them all together yet. And I've always known that about myself, but sometimes it's at the end of the day, it has been that kind of like perfectionism thing, which is why, like I said, I call myself a recovering perfectionist. And that's kind of what's been kind of holding me back. But now that I have this goal, this plan attached to this goal, I feel great. It's really cool to share it with others. Because I know there's a lot of people out there who are in the same boat. Maybe not the exact same circumstance as me, but I know there's a lot of content creators. I know the job market sucks right now. There is a shutdown, government shutdown. A lot of things are just in the air. Just it's a shit store. Let's just keep it a buck. And people are having to get creative. So, and I'm one of them. So, with that being said, sharing insights or whatever I can, and then also just learning myself along the way. It's a win-win for everyone. And I just wanted to, I'm gonna wrap this up. I just wanted to come share that as a tasty tidbit, takeaways, get out of your own way, stop trying to be perfect. Be perfectly imperfect. Hell, be consistently inconsistent, until, because you'll find your flow. Just like the Mimi Morning Show. Now it's every Wednesdays live. Or like the podcast every Tuesdays. It's every Tuesday, you know? Which by the way, this week it'll be live. I have to put that out. I want to try to make a thumbnail for that, but I don't know how to make a thumbnail. So you know what? Instead of trying to be perfect, I'm just gonna put it out there. It's tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time. It is Tasty Talks Live. I'm gonna record it here in the Tasty Talks studio, and then it's gonna be uploaded and distributed as a podcast episode. That's it. Just show up, and everything will fall into place. That is if it is meant for you and is in alignment. So that's a kind of a different conversation, but going to end it right here. I'll put links and everything. I will sign off also with this offer. If you are listening and you feel what I'm saying to any degree, follow me on social, mainly on X, LinkedIn. Just follow me on social and let's connect. Maybe we can have a chat. I hope something resonated with you. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And ciao for now.